92 victories for Lewis Hamilton, 92. He is now the most successful driver in Formula One to take victories in our sport. 92 is absolutely incredible. Michael Schumacher set that record after his 91st victory at the 2006 Chinese Grand Prix, and this record stood for 14 years. And as he said, records are made to be broken, but I never thought it would happen, especially in my lifetime. It's absolutely incredible. And for a British driver as well, it's really, really great to see. The man from Stevenage, the man who took his first victory at the 2007 Canadian Grand Prix with McLaren, that young boy from Stevenage, and he is now on the verge of 92 victories, probably the second biggest record he can hold, of course, the biggest one, chasing seven World Championships, of course, what is said by Michael Schumacher, but it's 92 victories, absolutely incredible. We wish Michael Schumacher was around to see this with his own eyes. Lewis Hamilton is now the most successful in wins. It looked like a walk in the park, but he's definitely done this in a very hard way, battling his teammate, battling the other 18 drivers on the field. He has definitely done this in style, and 92, a brand new record. It makes you a bit emotional, and I really am, to see a British driver do this, to see this in my own eyes as well. You know, in a race that I was really looking forward to as well. Of course, a brand new circuit that we've never been to before in Formula One. It is absolutely incredible to see. Lewis, 92, very, very well done to you from Stevenage. Absolutely incredible, and as I say, in a hard race as well. He did it in front of fans, and there was a lot of British fans going there, of course. Thankfully, people that weren't in lockdown, they managed to escape the country, have a bit of fun, get out in a bit of the summer, enjoy the southern Portugal resort kind of atmosphere that they have down there, go to the track. One of the first races that we've had this year alongside Nürburgring, and of course alongside Australia that didn't go ahead, that has had fans. We had a traffic jam heading into the race on Saturday. So it just showed that the fans were going to be loving this track, and they absolutely did. You can just see the atmosphere for Lewis Hamilton on the podium. Anyway, so obviously there's enough about that. Enough about the adulation. We'll be getting onto that in a little bit. Let's take you back 66 laps before, of course, all this happened, to the start of the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix. After a good Saturday, and of course a very good 97 pole position from Lewis Hamilton showed that he was going to be in command of this race. It didn't start like this. It ended like this, of course. But as I say, we're going to start with what happened there. Lewis Hamilton gets away a bit sluggish. Valerie Bottas's teammate gets a much better start, and he's really hounding him into turn one. It looks like Valerie is going to take Lewis Hamilton. First incident is Sergio Perez is hit by Max Verstappen. Max is really going wide on corner exit, and he flat spots the tyres. We do think Max has got a little bit of a problem with the car, and he goes into the side of Sergio Perez, gets him sideways, and he falls down the field. Max doesn't have any problems with the car. He does flat spot in a big way on his tyres, but no problems from him. But as I say, he is going really wide in the exit of the corners. There was an investigation, but nothing was found from this. Whilst that was going on, Valerie Bottas, as I say, doing an absolutely amazing start. He jumps Lewis Hamilton, and then both Lewis and Valerie are both jumped by the McLaren of Carlos Sainz. We post on Twitter, is this 2012 again? Because McLaren were beating Mercedes. Absolutely incredible. And Carlos Sainz, after losing the victory in Monza, we thought he was back again to do it in Portimao. It was a bit of an early call to see that Carlos Sainz was going to win the race, but it definitely was a good result from him. He jumped those two, and he was leading the race until lap one. Absolutely incredible from him, leading Valerie Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. Lap one finished with Valtteri Bottas in first place, Carlos Sainz in second, Lewis Hamilton in third, Lando Norris in a very good fourth from him, Max Verstappen in fifth, Charles Leclerc in sixth, and Kimi Raikkonen doing a very good position in seventh in that race. Again, the oldest driver in Formula One, who now leads the most races ever done in Formula One, was up there with the big guns. It was great to see from him. Again, it was a good comeback from Max Verstappen, who did fall down the queue, obviously after his collision with Sergio Perez. There was rain, said that it was at turn 3, and again, this uneven kind of weather, you know, where some parts of the track are dry, the pit lane was dry, the start finish was dry, but some sectors of the track are wet. That's definitely the best part to see. As I say, Carlos Sainz has the lead, and we are definitely so excited and tapping away thinking, can he hold this for another 64 laps? Of course, the man who was born 500 kilometers away over the border in Madrid. Can he hold this? Can he take a victory for McLaren? We were hoping so, because definitely one side of our channel was definitely hoping so, but he doesn't. And at lap 6, after 5 amazing laps led by Carlos Sainz, Valtteri Bottas takes the lead. There is a collision on lap 18 by Lance Stroll and Lando Norris. Lance Stroll goes on the outside to overtake Lando, and basically Lando on the normal racing line just runs into the side of Lance Stroll. It is found that Lance Stroll is at fault, and alongside losing his front wing and flat spotting and falling down the field alongside Lando Norris, he gets a 5-place grid penalty for that. Even before that, Lance Stroll was still having not the best race. He had the black and white flags, and he was getting caught for running through turn 1, corner 1, basically cutting the track. And as I say, we'll get onto that in a little bit because that does come back for a lot of the drivers. Lap 20, Lewis Hamilton does take the lead yet again from Lewis Hamilton, but Valtteri's defending is a little bit odd. He actually leads Lewis Hamilton onto the dirty side of the track, and said by Martin Brundle, this was a little bit of a strange thing because, of course, yes, Lewis Hamilton got a visor and his tyres full of the discarded rubber, the crap that nobody wants, but it was still strange to see Valtteri Bottas doing this because in this way that means that he was effectively doing exactly the same to him. Of course, he wasn't getting anything on his visor, but he was getting the discarded rubber on his tyres. And to say that his tyres might have been a few laps older theoretically than Lewis Hamilton's because of how he was defending the lead, it definitely wasn't the best thing for the Finnish driver to do, especially starting on different strategy to Lewis, and as I say, running those tyres after defending him for so long in that race. But nevertheless, Valtteri Bottas doing a very good defendable job against Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis on a charge, and obviously, as I say, definitely thinking about this 92 on a charge, and of course takes the lead on lap 20. I'll say a 5-second penalty for Lance Stroll with crashing into Lando Norris. Lance Stroll also gets the black and white flag and 4 times deleted. Any more, there would have been another penalty, of course, which he did receive later. But this was just after the penalty. And then, of course, exceeding track limits, Lance Stroll gets a 5-place grid penalty, which ends up being a 10-second grid penalty, which he serves a few laps later in a pit stop. Falls to the back of the field, and it's not looking good for either racing point cars, and especially for him, who sadly contracted COVID-19, did test positive after the Eiffel Grand Prix, and it was thought that he would sit out and he would be replaced by Nico Hülkenberg. But he defied a lot of odds. He got into the car. He did a good weekend, but unfortunately these problems didn't help his race in the slightest. Now, lap 34, Alexander Albon has started to be lapped by the field, and then on lap 54, he is lapped by his teammate Max Verstappen. I can just hear what people are saying now. Austria 2019, Pierre Gasly lapped by Max Verstappen. Are we just seeing this again, especially in a race where he is being told from the bosses at Red Bull he only has 2 races left to show that he is worthy of that Red Bull seat? And if not, they're going to look other places. They're going to look Nico Hülkenberg. They're even going to look at getting back Pierre Gasly. Can he really afford to do this in a lap that's even longer than Austria? Pierre Gasly was lapped that race. Alexander Albon getting lapped definitely did not help his cause. But thankfully, Max didn't win the race, which I guess if he did, then it would have looked really bad for Alex in this way. But as I say, he was lapped by his teammate not even 2/3 through the race, as that was not looking good for him. George Russell was running in P7 in lap 35. It was looking good. He had not pitted, but it was looking good. If a safety car came out then, this could have been very, very good for the man who's called Mr. Saturday, who has great one-off pace in that car. It could have been very good for him. He finishes in 14th position in the real race, of course, not really being able to hold that top 10 finish. Alongside, obviously, you've got some drivers like Sebastian Vettel who are definitely pushing for the points, but definitely strong from George Russell nevertheless. His best finish was an 11th place in Monza, and he is definitely better than that. He's now racing, also being worried about where he's going to be going in next year. Williams, they're looking like they might not re-sign George Russell in the future. He said he's got no worries. Claire Williams is very much adamant that he will be staying. Also, Delinton Capital as well, who of course took over the team a few races ago, saying that they're confident that George will stay, but with their financial troubles as well, will they be able to re-sign George in terms of paying him the money and things like that? Latifi very much signed because, of course, Williams is a money game, but we'll have to see what happens for that. Nevertheless, George Russell is definitely better than 14th, and let's hope that next race in Imola, kind of a short and more technical race, might suit Williams and George better. We'll have to see what happens in that race. Perez and Ocon provide us an incredible battle for 5th place in lap 35, around halfway through the race. Penalty for Roman Grosjean in track limits. And now I'll just talk now about the track limits. We also had a penalty for Danny Kvyat. We also had warnings and black and white flags for Lando and Norris. And it was getting a lot of people in hot water around this track. Now, when we talk about Formula 1, when we talk about the Formula 1 weekend, we have 4 hours of practice. Of course, we have FP1 at 90 minutes. Then we have FP2 90 minutes. Then we have FP3 for 60 minutes. A lot of people might think, maybe that's just a little bit too long. Why do the drivers need this? They're also going to be doing qualifying for 45 minutes and then also the race on the Sunday, along with track walks and things like that. They don't need all that practice in the car. Well, this shows that they definitely do. As I say, the second brand new circuit that we've never been to on the Formula 1 calendar this year, of course, alongside the Mugello circuit in Italy. We have, though, driven in Mugello in different ways, shapes or forms. Of course, a lot of the drivers have done smaller categories in those races and Friday do their testing around there. There has been exhibitions around there. Algarve, nothing. So nobody has the experience of actually how this track works. And that's why a lot of these drivers, and yes, that's why a lot of these younger drivers are getting the penalties, because they don't know how it works. And I wouldn't say it's inexperience. I would just say that it's just down to, a bit of maybe a little bit more of the lane to learn the circuit, but I don't know. It's just one of those things, so people that got time penalties here, you can't really blame them in that way. But yes, obviously a lot of drivers getting time penalties in this way. Lando Norris very, very lucky that he did not receive one at the end of the race. So there was a lot of warnings in this way. Lance Stroll retires on lap 54. A 5-second penalty for Danny Kvyat also follows. And then on lap 59, Lewis Hamilton complains about a cramp that he has in the car. Now, you might be thinking this is really nothing, not big news, but very much like in 2016 in Monaco, like when he had something in his eye, driving with something, that could be going on in this way that could be any way distracting, of course, when physical fatigue is definitely getting on you. And of course, the stress that Lewis Hamilton will be under, going for 92 wins, leading the race, and of course, just his general, driving for Mercedes kind of thing. It is definitely a big thing. When we hear that, it is not good to see. But Lewis Hamilton definitely gets away from that and finishes the race 25 seconds ahead of Valtteri Bottas and takes the victory. As I say, absolutely incredible from him. And then obviously, let's go into the race finish of the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix at Portimao, the international circuit de Algarve. Incredible performance by Lewis Hamilton, the man who needs no introduction, of the man who, of course, took the victory. Lewis Hamilton finishes with 26 points and 25 seconds ahead of his teammate, Valtteri Bottas. Lewis finishes in first place, 26 points, with the fast lap as well, of course, with a 1:18.7. He was setting that all the way through the second part of the race. Valtteri Bottas, the man who led the race over his teammate and jumped him into turn 1, and we were looking like this is going to be a good spicy race for the Finnish driver. Remember, he's denied him, accolades in the past. Remember last year, Mexico and even the US Grand Prix, he stopped him from winning the World Championship in Mexico. He couldn't stop him in USA because he ran out of points, but he tried his damn hardest. And that's what we love about Valtteri. And I was even thinking, everyone wants him to finish, everyone wants him to get 92, but Valtteri is the man who's going to stop him and obviously show his reluctancy to, of course, stay with Mercedes in the future. But Valtteri Bottas finishes in second place, obviously a very good maximum points finish from Mercedes. They don't take the Constructors' Championship this weekend because, of course, Max Verstappen third place is enough to keep Red Bull in the fight, even though in Imola, obviously the permutations will, of course, increase and Mercedes will have a much better chance of winning the Constructors' Championship, And of course, we are getting very close to Lewis winning the Drivers' Championship. I think it's Istanbul Park, or maybe even the first Bahrain. But if he goes on like he did today, then it could even be next weekend. I really don't know off the top of my head. So Max Verstappen finished in third place to keep Red Bull alive. Charles Leclerc finished in fourth. Incredible from him. Really, really great. You think where Scuderia Ferrari have been, and of course where Sebastian Vettel's been in the last few races. Really, really strong from him. Fifth place is Pierre Gasly. He had an incredible battle with Sergio Perez in the last few laps of the race. Great finish from him. Sixth place is Carlos Sainz, the man who unfortunately led the race for 5 laps. It would have been great to see him hold on to that, but yeah, unfortunately, he just can't prevail over the Mercedes. They're definitely the charge, and Lewis Hamilton, of course, 92. I promised this last time I mentioned that, but I say it's a massive achievement from him. We'll definitely be talking a lot more about this on the channel. Seventh place is Sergio Perez. Eighth place is Esteban Ocon. Of course, those two drivers giving us the incredible battle we had around halfway in this race. Ninth place was the podium sitter from last weekend, Daniel Ricciardo. Of course, Cyril's still working out where he's going to get that tattoo. I hope it's somewhere that's, we can all see it and incredibly amusing, but we'll have to wait and see what that is. Definitely the buzz is not gone, and apparently, according to Daniel Ricciardo, he is still 100% committed to, of course, getting one in the future. 10th place is Sebastian Vettel. Now, 10th place is not great for him. Before 2020, he never finished in 10th position in his Formula 1 career. Martin Brundle called him the man who could only win or retire. You'd never see Sebastian race, because if he was in the race, he would be incredibly dominant in that Red Bull, even in that Ferrari, and he never finished in 10th, really, even in that Ferrari days, no lower than 5th or 6th. He's finished 4 times in 10th position in this year, and of course 10th position today. A measly point for him, which will be pretty good. He probably won't be as happy as Charles was, especially after FP2, I think it was, when Charles was punching the air for getting on the podium positions. But nevertheless, Sebastian Vettel, a point for him, not too bad. 11th place is Kimi Räikkönen, the man who was running in the points for a lot of this race, the oldest driver in F1. Incredible to see from him. 12th place is Alex Albon. Now, again, we've just talked about him. What's happening with him at Red Bull? It's looking terrible. This race was very bad for him, a one that he will definitely want to just close his door, not even go to the pair, not even answer interviews, close his door, fly off to Imola, have a few days and just think about what he's going to do, especially as his situation at Red Bull. 13th position is Lando Norris. Again, good comeback for him. He was in the bottom positions after colliding with Lance Stroll. 14th position is George Russell, not having that performance in the Williams, but still a promising race for him. Again, he was in the point, like him, ranking for most of the race, but just not simple, just not having the power to, of course, keep up with the Mercedes and, of course, all those cars in the top fields. 15th position is Antonio Giovinazzi. A bit of a quiet race from him in the second Alfa Romeo, as was the 2 Haas drivers as well, even though Grosjean did receive a penalty, which was not great, especially after the bad news that Roman Grosjean and, of course, his teammate Kevin Magnussen would not be driving for the American team after this year. So, of course, he only has 4 races left. Imola, Istanbul, the 2 Bahrain and Abu Dhabi, that's 5, to, of course, show what he has left and should he stay in F1. 17th position, of course, is teammate Kevin Magnussen. 18th position is Nicholas Latifi. And 19th position is Danny Kvyat. He finished last place because he received a penalty, which, again, was not great for the Russian driver after an AlphaTauri pretty much good race for both of those. Obviously, Pierre Gasly getting some good heavy points in 5th place. Danny Kvyat, I say, would have contributed to that if he didn't have the time penalty, which of course did not help him. So that was the permutations for Portimao. Again, a good race at the Portuguese Grand Prix. It was great, but as I say, Lewis Hamilton now and again, all the accolades we can see on the podium are absolutely incredible. What he's been able to do is 92 victories, absolutely great. We'll be talking a lot more about that on the channel, but records are there to be broken. That's exactly what Michael Schumacher said 14 years ago when he set this in China, 2006. And there we go, records are made to be broken, and Lewis Hamilton has broken them. He's done an incredible job. Just absolutely, gobsmacked. I really am for him. Obviously, we'll have a lot more to say on that. He extends the lead in the World Championship. Most likely will win, of course, very, very soon. Maybe that be Imola, maybe Istanbul. I don't really know. Actually, probably not next weekend, as I say that, but nevertheless, it will be good. Hopefully they'll go out to, of course, get a 1-2 in Imola also. But incredible race from Mercedes, definitely need that. Amazing from them, and that was the Portuguese Grand Prix. So yes, thank you very much for watching this. We do hope that you enjoyed the race. We definitely did. I definitely did. I don't know why, but I was so excited to watch this race. Maybe it was because of Lewis Hamilton getting 92, but I was just so excited to watch this race. Incredible news for Lance Stroll, of course, making it to race after the bad news that, of course, he tested positive for COVID-19 through the week. It's been progressive as well from some teams and some drivers. Also bad for some drivers like Alex Albon, but again, we'll see what he can do in Imola and for the rest of the 2020 season. Imola is next weekend, so of course we hope that you can catch our race reaction for that. We do hope that you enjoyed the Imola Grand Prix, the 3rd race in Italy. It's only a 2-day weekend next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. This, of course, is Imola Race Week, so please follow our content that we have on YouTube and also SoundCloud. So, of course, we have F1 24/7 news, agree or disagree, and the race reaction, which will be on YouTube. Of course, head over to our Twitter page, F1_DS16, where you can find our schedule. and then episode 3 of our brand new podcast on SoundCloud, the F1 DS podcast. Absolutely incredible. We do hope that you can catch that. We've absolutely loved doing our first 2 episodes. Can't wait for the third, and we do hope that you guys can catch us also like that. If you're on YouTube, our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified every time we upload. Our target is 3,000 subscribers by the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the end of the 2020 Formula 1 season. We have about 160 to go, so please help us out in this way. We do hope that you enjoy our content going forward, and of course we do hope that you're enjoying the Formula 1 season. Let me know in the comment section below your rating for this race and your driver of the day. I think Sergio Perez was doing quite well in terms of driver of the day, also Pierre Gasly and Lando Norris. My driver of the day, it was fluctuating. At one point it was going to go Carlos Sainz, of course, then I was contemplating Kimi Raikkonen, but I'm going to give it to Lewis Hamilton for the to add on to his accolades of 92. Absolutely incredible for him. I think he was 3rd place last time I checked. Also your race rating, my race rating, after the first few laps, I'm probably going to go, I would give it high after the first few laps. It did get a little bit boring towards the end of the race, but as I say, from Lewis Hamilton's accolade and the way that we're going to remember this race in the future, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 for sure. As I say, let me know your comments, let me know your race reaction and your driver of the day in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, and until the Imola Grand Prix and our next video on YouTube and SoundCloud, we'll see you later.